Have you ever experienced being on an emotional roller coaster, where your thoughts and emotions seem to be constantly accelerating, out of your control? Social media has a negative impact on the mental health of young people around the world. Do you find it difficult to focus on the activities that are truly important to your life? Or have you ever found yourself in an unknown place, with no cell phone signal, feeling a deep boredom? All these situations can be related to dopamine. Dopamine is a crucial neurotransmitter that regulates the sensation of pleasure and reward in our brain. With the advancement of technology, the constant use of social networks today can keep our dopamine levels constantly high, which leads us to get addicted to things like constantly checking notifications and desperately searching for likes in our posts. I've been there myself. The excessive use of the cell phone during the day made me feel vibrations that did not exist, believing that there were notifications when in fact there was nothing. This is because our dopamine levels get so overloaded that we become addicted, just like drug addiction. It seems that our life loses its meaning if we do not continue seeking this drug. This dependence on dopamine ends up reducing pleasure in important activities, such as studying or exercising in the gym. Instead, we tend to trade these activities for things that give us a higher dose of dopamine, like spending hours on TikTok, watching TV series, or playing video games. However, these sources of dopamine do not bring significant long-term benefits, unlike alternatives to study, exercise, or eating a healthy diet. However, there is a solution to this, and you can trick your brain in a way to be able to focus on your goals, better control your emotions, and even find satisfaction in the simplest things in life. This is where the concept of dopamine detox comes in, a method to restart your brain and regain control of your life. If you ask some people why they can't achieve their goals in life, a common answer you'll hear is, "Oh, I don't have enough knowledge, or I even wanted to, but I don't have time to dedicate, or even I don't have the energy for it." But let me say these are unfounded excuses. It's not a lack of time, knowledge, or energy. What's really lacking is focus. We need to focus on the limited time we have. If we believe that something is really worth it, when we focus on it, we acquire knowledge about it, and over time we become skilled and even develop a taste for it. The big question we all need to ask ourselves, especially these days, is how can we get that focus even in a dopamine-saturated world? The dopamine detox proposes a period in which the person withdraws or drastically reduces exposure to activities that intensively stimulate the reward system of the brain, such as video games, unhealthy food, social networks, and other similar stimuli. During this period, the goal is to allow the brain to restart and return to a natural balance in relation to the release and reception of dopamine. The first problem we face is the amount of screens that surround us. It is very common to be watching TV while also tinkering on the phone, answering messages on WhatsApp, or enjoying photos on Instagram, perhaps because the movie or program we are watching is not so interesting at the moment. If you want to cultivate focus, start by decreasing the amount of screens in front of you. When you're watching a video lesson or reading a book on your Kindle, focus only on that activity and eliminate all distractions. Keep your phone away from you and put it in airplane mode. If you're reading an article on your computer, close all the unnecessary tabs and use only what's really important to focus on at that time. However, I know that reaching that level of focus and putting it into practice is easier said than done. We need to reset our dopamine levels. So I'm going to share a 7-day method with you. If you can follow this method for 7 days, you can reprogram your brain and focus on things that will be much better for your life. This method consists of only 4 rules that you will need to follow, and my intention is that after these 7 days, you can fully incorporate them into your routine, preventing bad habits from returning completely. This doesn't mean you should follow these rules to the letter after the 7th day, but it is essential that you follow them in the first 7 days when we will be resetting our dopamine level. Ready? So let's go. The first rule is, use your phone only an hour a day. Yes, I know it's not easy. The mobile phone can be the biggest enemy of our focus, which is why the first rule is precisely to limit its use. Most devices nowadays have configuration options to set a maximum screen usage time. So make your life easier and go to the settings to set, for example, 1 hour for Instagram or 20 minutes for TikTok. Try to ensure that the total screen time used in each of these applications does not exceed 1 hour. If you use WhatsApp for work, open it on your desktop instead of your phone, so you avoid all the notifications of other apps that come up all the time, stealing your focus and distracting you from what you really need to do, which is using WhatsApp on the computer at that time. The second rule, which can be considered one of the most important, but before, do not forget to leave a like in this video. When you like it, the YouTube algorithm understands your interests and continues to recommend similar videos, benefiting everyone. Now to the next rule: refrain from using YouTube. That's right, in the next 7 days, avoid accessing the platform, including my own videos. Unlike television, where you watch a specific show and when you finish, stop watching, or a series that ends and you need to wait for the next season, YouTube offers an endless schedule. You can spend hours watching videos as there will always be something new to see. When watching a video from a channel you like, it's common to find recommendations from other videos on similar topics or even podcasts related to your interests. You end up clicking and watching these additional videos. It is evident that you end up spending more and more time on the platform, since the goal of YouTube is to keep you there for as long as possible, providing the release of dopamine. However, this search for more videos compromises your productivity. Now, you may be thinking, but what if I use YouTube to watch lessons, tutorials and learn, including on your channel? Can't that be an exception? I understand your point of view, but it's worth noting that many people, around 90%, claim to use YouTube to produce content or develop in person, but in reality, they use it as an excuse to watch more and more videos that supposedly teach something, without ever applying this knowledge in practice. They become addicted to self-help content, featuring a form of productive procrastination. Therefore, if you really like watching this kind of video, I suggest you leave it for after these 7 days that we agreed. The next rule is to avoid watching adult films. These films have the power to significantly raise dopamine levels. So commit yourself to spending 7 days without watching them. By doing so, you will be redefining your dopamine levels more effectively, as dopamine is generated through visual, sound and sensory stimuli. This applies to adult video platforms, OnlyFans, Instagram, YouTube and any other such platform. Do you know that profile that you follow all the stories, likes all the photos, even knowing that there is no real chance of having any relationship with that inaccessible person? In that case, block the stories from that profile or simply unfollow it. Follow only people with whom you have some real relationship or you may have some realistic relationship. Otherwise, you are self-declared that it is okay to waste time seeing this dream profile, even knowing that in practice nothing will ever happen. Personally, I follow only people with whom I have some relationship, as friends. I don't follow many people who produce content, because I know that if I start consuming a lot of content on Instagram, I'll be stuck with it all day. I even deactivate the stories of many of the people I follow, not because I don't like them, but because I know I can waste my time watching it, when I could be doing something more productive. The fourth and last rule is to try to meditate for 10 to 15 minutes a day, or more, if you have time. Some people can meditate for up to an hour, but if you've never meditated before, probably 10 minutes will be enough to start. Not only does meditation help regulate dopamine levels, but it also reduces stress, increases concentration, and helps you focus on what really matters, being present at the moment. Therefore, in the next 7 days, find a moment of your day to reserve 10 minutes in which you will just empty your mind and be silent. Put on some inspiring or quiet music and try not to think about anything. Compared to the other rules, I think this is the least sacrificial. At first, it may not seem to make a difference. You may wonder what the purpose of doing so is. However, over time, you will begin to notice the difference. You'll feel lighter, more confident, more focused, and you'll be able to say, "Wow, I kind of like that." By implementing these 4 rules, you will notice an interesting consequence. By reducing the stimulation of your dopamine levels, you will find pleasure in things that previously went unnoticed. Instead of taking your phone out to photograph a landscape and waiting for likes, you'll enjoy the moment. You'll be able to read books for longer without worrying about texting on your phone or sharing what book you're reading. You'll be able to study for long periods without taking constant breaks to check social networks or watch YouTube. You will find that things that once discouraged or hindered your productivity will decrease or cease to exist. You will again find pleasure in the little things, as your brain will become less resistant to dopamine, and you will need smaller stimuli to fully enjoy life. In general, tasks that were once difficult will become pleasurable. After committing to these 4 rules and completing the 7-day cycle, you may ask yourself, and now, what to do? First, by following these rules for just 7 days, you will enter a virtuous cycle of productivity. You'll feel more like eating properly, going to the gym, reading more, and studying. This will lead you to a healthier routine. After that, it's just a matter of continuing with practices that you know have not been excessive, such as limiting screen time, waking up at the same time and cultivating habits that promote your personal well-being and prosperity. And if you liked the video, leave your like, leave comment with criticism and suggestions and subscribe to our channel. Your interaction is very important to us. Thank you for your support. If you decide to do dopamine detox, come back here and leave your statement of how you felt. Until the next video.